Hey everyone, this is Goober, and today we're going to be talking about an official Red Faction game that you've probably never seen, maybe never even heard of, even if you've been a fan of the series for a long time. You're probably recognizing what's on your screen right now if you've ever played Red Faction 1 on the Sony PlayStation 2, 3, or 4. This is the first Red Faction game ever released. It was released in September 2001 for the Sony PlayStation 2, and that makes it the first of 5 officially released versions of Red Faction 1. Now you're looking at the PC version of the same game, released about 4 months after the PS2 version. This is essentially a tweaked and upgraded version of the original PS2 title. It adds things like a level editor, online multiplayer, additional multiplayer features, things like that, but the core of the gameplay, particularly the single-player gameplay, is identical to the original PS2 game. Now, a minute ago I mentioned that there have been 5 officially released Red Faction games. I'm not talking about the sequels, Red Faction 2, Red Faction Guerrilla, and Red Faction Armageddon. I'm talking about 5 different versions of the first game in the series. 5 different versions of Red Faction 1. The vast majority of people who have played Red Faction 1 have likely only ever played the PlayStation 2 and or the PC version. So what else is there? Let's lay this out. Let's lay out all 5 Red Faction games. Coming in at number 1 and 2, obviously, are the PS2 and PC versions that we've already talked about. Next up is the macOS version of the game, which was released in late 2001. It was produced by GraphSim on contract from THQ, and it's essentially just a direct port of the PC version of the game. And that was it. That was it for the end of 2001. All the Red Faction games that were released in 2001. Fast forward about 2 years later, in December 2003, however, John Romero's Monkey Stone Games studio released a version of Red Faction 1 for the Nokia N-Gage. Now, this was an entirely new game. It followed the same general premise of the original PS2 and PC games, but it had a slightly changed story, brand new dialogue, new maps, a completely independent Bluetooth multiplayer component. There's a lot to dive into with that game. I actually have a copy of that game, and I'm planning on featuring it in a future video. And that brings us to the 5th and final officially released Red Faction title, and the one that we're going to be playing through in this video today. In 2005, Blue Beck was contracted by THQ Wireless to produce a top-down mobile version of Red Faction for Java-based mobile phones. It's extremely difficult to even research this game nowadays. It seems to be largely forgotten about. If you Google around at the time of this recording for details on the top-down Red Faction mobile game by Blue Beck, you're going to find about a half dozen screenshots, a couple of reviews written in 2005, and a single line on a Wikipedia page, but not a single video. And unfortunately, due to the nature of the platform that it was on, it's extremely difficult to even manage to play it nowadays. All that means that if you're watching this video, you're probably one of the first people to see this game in over 10 years. Now, this game has the distinction of being the only version of Red Faction 1 where you don't play Parker. You are not trying to overthrow the Ultor Corporation. In fact, the events of this storyline appear to be set before the events of the original PlayStation 2 and PC game. You're Kava Xarel instead of Parker, and instead of overthrowing Ultor, you're stealing weapons and ammo to prepare for the upcoming revolt against Ultor, and they spot you. And essentially your only chance for survival is to make a break for one of the supply ships and leave for Earth. So starting the game, we're told that we have to find Sect, because he might know what to do to help us get to a supply ship. Jumping right into the gameplay here, this is a game that really shows you what it is and everything you need to know right from the start. Here we have our top-down perspective and our main character, Kava. We've got our health bar and available health kits up in the top left. The top middle has our currently selected weapon, of which we only have a pistol right now, and the top right has our ammo counter. In the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see the radar, which shows you in green, your current objective in red, and will give you an idea of which direction you need to go to get to it. The first map in this game is really just all about getting to the second level of whatever facility we're in, so we go and talk to Sect here, who is going to come up throughout the game, and we ask him how we get to level 2. He directs us to another Red Faction team member who can deactivate the security system for us. He also hands us a radio, which he's going to use to communicate with us a little status update before the start of each other map. So making our way over to Cream Mantir, who I'm probably mispronouncing, he tells us that he's deactivated the security grid, and he gives us a circuit board to give to Sect the next time we see him. Alright, so circuit board in hand for some reason, we're now going to continue our quest to get off Mars by going up to level 2. We're going to take a quick stop over here to pick up the dual pistols, which as far as I can tell is the same as the normal pistols, just has more rounds in a clip. Now, you're going to see this kind of purple 9 tile pattern. That's going to be at the end of every map, and when you walk into it, you're going to get a screen like this that shows you how long it took you to finish the map and how many kills you got. Alright, so via the radio, Sect tells us that he's going to meet us on level 4, and we're just going through a storage area to get to level 3. Now, this is a pretty straightforward map. It's just a straight pathway. You don't even really need to shoot at any enemies for this map. Now, I've wanted to play this game for a really long time, so for that reason, I'm really happy I finally got to play it. I'm equally as happy that I get to share it with you guys for what's likely the first time. But let's not kid ourselves. The game's got a whole ton of problems. It's not generally a good game. I'm going to get into some of these problems later, but for now I just wanted to focus on one, and that's how useless all of your allies are. Now, it's not unlike the rest of the Red Faction series in having absolutely useless allies, nor really FPS games in general, but they're particularly bad here. Normally, you walk up to your ally, you exchange some words, sometimes they give you an item, but they usually don't. But the big thing is, they're surrounded by enemies normally. And they don't seem to care, and the enemies don't seem to care about them either. You round the corner and they start shooting at you, but before you got there, they were completely at peace with each other. So all that really makes me wonder, are these guys even really my allies? Are they on my side? And if so, why are the guards not shooting at them? Anyway, finishing up in the sickbay level here, I collect some additional weapons. The machine gun is without a doubt the best weapon in the game. It's the most effective for sure. The problem is it has really limited ammo, and you get through the ammo extremely quickly. And here's my second major gripe with this game. You see how I kind of got blocked by that guard there and he dealt a ton of damage? Well, the controls in this game are such that if you turn in a direction, you're automatically moving in that direction. And that makes it really awkward to try to aim at enemies while they're trying to dodge you and dealing a ton of damage to you while they're doing it. So it's usually a better idea to avoid enemies than engage them unless you can't help it, but the problem then is they have a habit of sidestepping into you and dealing a ton of damage, and then all it takes is a barrel and game over. And that game over brings us to probably the worst part of the game. There is absolutely no save game system to speak of. No quick save, no manual save, no checkpoints, no nothing. If you die at any point in the game, you gotta start from the beginning again. And here's an example of just how annoying the combat is with this control scheme. There's no reason I should have lost this fight, but there it is. Anyway, through the magic of editing, we are now back to where we were when I died the last time. So I kill a couple guards, we find Sect again, who might as well be a button on the wall as usual. We give him the circuit board, he says he can use it to disable the security on any level of the building. So we go to the payload area, which he says is on level 8. To do that, we pass through the training area, which has to be the most straightforward level in the entire game. You just walk straight past a couple turrets. If you take some of the detours, it gets a lot less safe because there's a lot of enemies there, but there's really no reason to do that. Anyway, for this level, we've got to find the main control panel, and when we do, we get an error for unauthorized access. Apparently, we've been infiltrated, and I got to find Beluga because he'll know what to do. So I find Beluga, he's worried that he's going to get killed, and then he directs me to an access elevator. So I go through a little maze thing, and then I find the access elevator and on to the next map, where Sect tells me that I gotta find 2 control panels and steal the circuit boards from them. Now the control panels are in opposing corners of the map, so naturally you have to go across the entire map to get to them. The first one's no trouble, but when you get to the second one, it spawns a lot of enemies around you, and I've got a full health bar and 3 health kits here. All of these enemies spawning, I try to kill them, but I'm dead in like 2 seconds. And then I gotta start from the very beginning again, of course. And once again, through the magic of editing, we are back here again. This time I managed to push one of the guards out of the way, and I only take 1 health kit of damage. So then I just run to the end of the level, because I don't want any of these guys to catch up with me. Alright, and on to the final level of the game. For this level, Sect radios me and tells me that I gotta find the same guy from the start of the game, give him the 2 circuit boards that I just stole, and then get out. Presumably getting to the ship to get off Mars. Now, I almost die here a couple of times because I get stuck on guards, and then I get stuck on the turret, so I gotta be really careful here. Anyway, I work my way through some of the enemies and almost die a handful of times, and I find my ally, who, surprise, is surrounded by a bunch of enemies and a turret. I hand him the circuit boards, and he tells me I have to move silently to get out, which, quite obviously, I'm not able to do because all the enemies are after me. Anyway, with that, the game is over, and I'm being prompted to spread the word, find more comrades, and rise up against Ultor, which I found kind of hilarious considering the entire game's purpose was for me to get off of Mars because they were going to kill me. And that is it. That is the entirety of the Red Faction top-down mobile game made by Blue Beck and released in 2005. Now, what you're seeing on your screen here now is a remake that I've started of this campaign for Red Faction PC. As you can see, I've tried to make it as close to the original as possible, but it doesn't really look the best in first person. A lot of the textures are unaligned and such. Anyway, I'm not 100% sure this project's going to be finished. I just wanted to show you it. So what did you think of this game overall? From my perspective, I'm really happy that I finally got to play it. I've been wanting to play this game for a really long time. I thought it was an okay game, and it did a decent job of showing another aspect of the Martian Revolution that didn't have anything to do with Hendrix or Eos or Parker, but overall, I think they could have made a much better game out of this. One glaring omission in my view is the complete lack of anything to do with a destruction engine or destructibility in any way outside of some crates that you can shoot. That's really the thing that the entire series has been known for, so it's amazing to me that they left something like that out. And on top of that, the complete lack of a save game system makes the game a bit of a chore to even play. But hey, that's just my take, and I'm only one person. I'd love to hear your take as well. What did you like about the game? What didn't you like? Do you think it was a good addition to the Red Faction universe, or do you wish they didn't make it, or made it in a different way? What'd you think of the story, the characters, the environments, and how do you think it compared to the original game? I'd love to hear anything and everything you have to say about the game in the comments down below. And subscribe to my channel if you like this video and you want to see additional content like this in the near future. I'm also going to leave a link in the description down below to the Faction Files community Discord server. FactionFiles.com is the largest Red Faction community anywhere on the internet, and if you're interested in Red Faction, we would love to hear from you. So come hang out and chat with other Red Faction series fans about everything to do with the series. Anyway, take care, and I'll see you next time.